right, is the crypto market breaking or pumping? Well, let's get into it. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. So we're looking at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin actually broke around 108,000, which is a very strong resistance level, which we broke over massively. And we are currently around 109,000. If we can hold the 109,000, we will see more push upwards, which will bring the rest of the crypto market into a bullish formation. When we're looking at QNT and compound, this is for Aaron and Tanner. We've been talking about it in the comments on the previous video. We had this push up. We were accumulating around $100 on Quant, which is right where this downward trend line is. If we're zooming out into the 4-hour, you can see that when it broke this downward trend line, we had that major push. We actually saw the exact same thing happen here in Quant. When we're zooming outwards into the 4-hour, we see it broke this downward trend line and had that major push. We had an entry right around here, around $47, and the main thing is we're not trying to accumulate money, we're trying to accumulate percentages. This is up around 18%. I believe it's 20% max just over last night. It is looking very, very bullish. However, it is straying away from the 200 EMA. The volume is decreasing, but the price is increasing, which is bullish divergence. So we may see a little bit of rejection as we had this massive wick off right here just the other night. We do want to see this to be a little bit healthier market, have a little bit more of a retrace into the CM guppy right here, maybe get a little bit of support around the $49 mark. But overall, I believe compound is very bullish in the long run. And when you're comparing that to Quant, we had our entry around 100, and that was right around this area. It is up 25% as well. And we sold at this first peak. Usually people don't do that because they want to see a second touch, which would be this touch right here. But with scalp trading, we sold and we had a re-entry right around 110 when it built that support. And then it's up another, I believe, 5 or 10% off of that. So 10% right here. However, there's 20% right here, which is double what you could potentially gain off of Quant. So if you're scalp trading, you want to sell and then rebuy in at a lower price, obviously. But with that sell, we saw that there was a higher potential for compound to move upwards. So we took it all out of Quant, put it into compound, and made an additional 20%, while this was only increasing from entry around 10%, 12% right now. We do want to see Quant hold above this black line right here, which should be a little bit more level like this, and use it as support before it starts pushing up the additional 20%. Compound could just keep flying. So if you want a dollar cost average, now is not a bad time to be entering compound. But keeping that in mind, we're going to be looking at XCN, one of the reasons this channel exists. We had, the 2,000% increase and all that, but when we remove all this bullshit that's in here, pardon the language, we see that it's holding above the 200 EMA. It's still forming within that downward wedge. When we add in this, you can see these darker black lines are the downward wedge, and it came up right at the 50% mark above the 200 EMA, held that downward support, and we want to see it break this downward trend line before it starts skyrocketing. Also the RSI, looking at this, let's move this, you can see barely the RSI is at around 41, below the 50%. When this starts moving up towards the 50%, we're going to start seeing some more bullish momentum, pushing XCN to new all-time highs. And as you can see while we're talking, compound is actually constantly increasing. So if you had entered in my signal channel or my one-on-one trading, you would have had a very nice entry here around $47, currently at 56. XCN, I believe, is going to continue upwards, and we would say this is a bigger cup and handle forming like this, and it's going to start forming with this curve pushing upwards. A few others I wanted to bring in is Waxel. I just saw this looking at my market and what I have in my list. Compound is actually one of the top ones that has the highest percent increase, excluding Waxel, which I just entered into my list. But it is only at 58 cents holding. We want to see it hold above the 200 EMA. However, the RSI on the daily is completely overbought, so I expect to see a little bit more of a retracement, test off that 200 EMA, and then start moving upwards with the rest of the market. Waxel is very cheap. I believe its high is around $3. But just with this push the other day, or I guess today, it's around 128%, currently at around 80% increase, which is massive gain. So if you're sitting and holding something like Quant, you're getting 5%. If you're selling from Quant, putting it in Compound, you're getting an additional 10%. If you sold and put it in Waxel, you're getting an additional 80%. So this is what the percentage is more important than the dollar amount. But keeping that in mind, again, Compound just keeps pushing, set 57.30. If we hold above this wick off, we are going to see a continuation with Compound. However, be very skeptical with it, as it can have that quick rejection with this wick off, as there's a bunch of sellers in this area. MOG is also one I wanted to bring up, more of a meme coin. We are pushing at this first breaking point. If it holds above this red line, 0.000000124, we can start seeing it push up to the 0.0168 area. And if you were to enter MOG, again, it is a meme coin, so not the best investment, but 152% potential increase. I believe more in Compound and Quant, as they are more financial institutions and a better bet as opposed to a meme coin. But MOG does have some major potential to start pushing upwards. The other one I wanted to bring into your platform or information is AIOZ USD. These past couple of days it had major push up. Once it broke that 200 EMA, it's around 42% increase. Currently sitting around 26% increase. We want to see that 200 EMA slowly move up along with this CM Guppy, hold some support. If it starts breaking down below this CM Guppy, we are most likely going to test off that 200 EMA. The RSI isn't looking too bad for it. Looking at the news, May 21st it had some news, nothing too important, but May 21st is way back here. Nothing happened for that amount of time. But in the long run, in the daily, it does have a lot of room to run. We are at 42 cents and it has a high of $1.30. There are some better coins. Actually, I believe this was way higher. Let's zoom out a little bit. No, it's just been flatlined for years. So it's something new to keep in mind. There's not a whole bunch of information to go off of, but we do know whenever it pushes over the 200 EMA, like it did right here, has a major push up, 200 EMA, major push up, 200 EMA. We could see a major push up again. However, this is the trend line that we need to break to see some major increasement in price. It is at the 50 on the RSI, which is looking good. And if that holds, I believe we're going to see upward momentum up to $1.70 potential. And that would be around a 298% increase, which can happen within the next couple of days, if not weeks. So keep AIOZ in your radar. I did want to bring back graph GRT. GRT is starting to build some support. 4 hour, we are seeing that it is holding this somewhat trend line. We could readjust this black trend line right here to create that new low, creating upward wedge, which typically has a decrease in price. But if we can break this black trend line right here around 12 cents, 12.40, we could see still this inverse head and shoulders play out and break this, moving back up towards this downward trend line all the way at 22 cents. The last one I'm bringing up is XRP. XRP, again, dollar cost average XRP It's still holding very nicely with the support zones right here around the $2 mark, the 2.16 mark, and I believe we could start seeing this increase in price along with the rest of the market, forming out this inverse head and shoulders. Again, it is June. June is a good month for XRP. We could see some major bullish movement within June. However, again, November, I believe, is going to be where XRP will thrive. That's it for today. I always recommend Grass if you want free airdrop money. It's free money. Both of those are good things. And MEXC for the lowest trading fee platform, as well as Coinbase is doing airdrops, or Roller Token if you want to Roller Coin if you want to play games and earn passive income. All the references are in the link below. Like and subscribe if you want, and I will see you guys on the next one.